The gates of Augusta National are swinging open once again, and with them comes the familiar rush of anticipation that only the Masters can stir. The azaleas are in full bloom, the patrons are filling the grounds, and the air carries that unmistakable electricity of major championship week. But this year, two names that have defined this tournament for generations are missing from the field. Tiger Woods will not be walking these fairways, his attention consumed by personal matters away from the game. Phil Mickelson has also stepped aside, choosing to be present for his family during a difficult time. Their absences cast a long shadow over a tournament that has always drawn much of its drama from their presence. And yet, from somewhere unexpected, a voice has emerged to speak on what this moment truly means. A voice that has been silent for 15 years. Anthony Kim was once the kind of player who made Augusta feel electric. In 2009, he set a Masters record by making 11 birdies in a single round, an achievement that announced him as the next great force in American golf. A year later, he finished third at Augusta, cementing the belief that a green jacket was simply a matter of time. Then everything fell apart. His body broke down, his spirit followed, and by 2012 he had walked away from professional golf entirely. For 12 years he disappeared, swallowed by addiction and pain. Watching the Masters from the outside while the world moved on without him, the tournament he had once nearly conquered became a relic of a life he could barely recognize. Then, in February of 2026, something extraordinary happened. Kim stepped onto a live golf course in Adelaide, Australia, and shot a bogey-free 63. Beating Jon Rahm and Bryson DeChambeau by 3 shots to claim his first professional win in 16 years. It was the kind of performance that stops people. Mid-sentence, the kind that makes you set down your coffee and just stare at the screen. His world ranking leaped from 847th to 203rd. Suddenly, the first time in over a decade. The Masters was not merely a memory for Anthony Kim. It was a conversation, but as tournament week approached, Kim remained quiet. He did not campaign for a special invitation, did not make his absence a public grievance. He focused on his game, his family, his recovery, and his simple philosophy of getting 1% better every single day. It was only when a small group of reporters caught up with him at a live event in Hong Kong that he finally spoke, and what he said surprised everyone. Asked about his own chances of playing at Augusta, he waved the question aside almost immediately. He was not going to be there, he said plainly. He had not qualified and was not close. But what he wanted to talk about, what clearly weighed on him, was the fact that Tiger and Phil would not be there either. His words carried the particular weight of someone who has lived through exactly what he was describing. He spoke about knowing what it feels like to watch from the outside, to see a tournament you love play out on a television screen while you sit in silence, unable to participate. He said it hurts in a way that is hard to explain to someone who has not experienced it. He was not performing sadness or angling for attention. He was simply a man who had spent 12 years on the outside, speaking honestly about what that kind of absence costs a person. And in doing so, he offered something rare in modern sports coverage. A moment of genuine human empathy, untouched by ego or agenda. Kim acknowledged that both Woods and Mickelson were navigating real and serious circumstances in their personal lives, and he expressed nothing but respect for the choices they had made. He understood better than most that there are seasons in life when golf simply cannot be the priority, when the person comes before the player. He did not minimize their struggles or use them as a backdrop for his own story. He let them stand on their own weight, and the golf world, which had been so focused on who would win the tournament, paused for a moment to absorb what he was actually saying. His path back to Augusta is not closed, but it is narrow. He is 40 years old. His body has endured more than most professional athletes ever face. The requirements for Masters entry are specific and unforgiving. A PGA Tour victory, a top 50 world ranking, or a direct invitation from Augusta National would open the door, and Kim has none of those things yet. His ranking, while rising, remains outside the top 200. He has accepted this without bitterness, channeling his energy entirely into the present rather than mourning what he does not yet have. He talks about sobriety, about fatherhood, about being a better husband, with the same directness he once brought to dissecting a golf course. The swagger is gone, replaced by something quieter and more durable. The 2026 Masters will feature a deep and talented field. Scottie Scheffler enters as the favorite. Rory McIlroy returns as the defending champion. Jon Rahm, Bryson DeChambeau, and Colin Morikawa are among the contenders, circling the top of the leaderboard. The younger generation of golfers is ready and capable of delivering the kind of week Augusta demands. Fred Ridley, the tournament chairman, acknowledged the absences of Woods and Mickelson with dignity, noting that the Masters has always been larger than any individual player. That is true. It is also true that certain players leave marks on a tournament, so deep that their absence reshapes the entire emotional texture of the week. Fans who grew up watching Tiger chip in on the 16th hole watch Phil leap with joy after. Holing a putt on the 18th will feel something different this year. Not sadness exactly, but a kind of quiet acknowledgement that eras end, that bodies wear out, that life demands more than golf can ever give back. Anthony Kim understands this feeling from the inside out. He lost 12 years to it. He watched majors pass without him, watched players he had once beaten win championships he had once dreamed of winning himself. And he came back anyway, not to reclaim what was lost, simply because he still loved the game. When Kim talks about the Masters, there is a tenderness in his voice that was never there when he was young and dominant and seemingly invincible. He speaks about the 11 birdies in 2009 and the third-place finish in 2010. The way a person speaks about photographs from a life that feels both intimately familiar and impossibly distant. Those memories belong to him, and no amount of absence or hardship can take them away. But he has also learned that the tournament does not need him, does not need Tiger, does not need Phil. It existed before all of them, and will continue long after. That is not a painful realization for him anymore. It is simply the truth, and he has made his peace with it. What Kim gave the golf world this week was not a comeback announcement or a dramatic bid for sympathy. It was something more honest than that. It was the perspective of a man who has been to the bottom and climbed back, who has learned the hard way that the game is bigger than any one player, any one career, any one story. He said he would be watching Augusta from home, cheering for whoever was out there, grateful simply to have been part of it at all. For a man who once nearly lost everything, including his life, that kind of gratitude is not a consolation prize, is the whole point.